Hello, everyone. I'm Valerie Gilchrist, and this is Esther's Purpose. But tonight, we're doing something different. Tonight, I'm going live tonight. Yes, I'm going to do a live show tonight, and normally you see me with a guest. Tonight, I will not have a guest. It's just going to be you and me tonight. We're going to just talk about some things tonight about Esther's Purpose. One of the things that I want to make sure that I leave you all with before our season ends this year, I'm sure those of you who follow us knows that our season ends at the end of May and we come back again and we start in August. And what I want to do is make sure that when the season ends, that leave you all with some things for you all to maybe work on to kind of get your life back going and helps you get started back in a way where you want it to be. There's a lot of times that we start and we stop things and we really don't know why we start and stop, but we have a tendency to do that. We'll think of something, we'll get a project going, we'll get an activity going, whatever it is, we'll start it, we'll start a business. We start all kinds of different things. We're always starting and stopping. And we never thought about, why do I keep starting and stopping? My idea sounded good in my head. I wrote it all down on paper. I had everything going for me, but for some reason, it just didn't work out for me. And I can't seem to figure out why it didn't. Well, I'm going to talk to you all tonight about authenticity. Now, I know you're probably thinking, you know, we hear this word all the time, authenticity. And I don't know. I think a lot of times we don't really know what that word means. And so I want to talk about that tonight. It's going to be being our authentic self is what's really going to help us to be successful in life. All of us came into this world with a purpose. There is a reason why we are all here. And we have corresponding gifts to go along with why we're here. The problem comes in when, one, we didn't know that, and two, we weren't maybe, whatever our gifts are, however we were reared, if our parents didn't know it, if we didn't know it, then the things that for us maybe have looked like different to us or different than our environment when we were raised up, our parents maybe had some different kind of ideas about what they wanted for us. We didn't have a clue what we wanted to do. So what we do a lot of times, and you all have heard me talk about this before, we'll start doing what everybody else is doing or what we think everybody else is doing or the people that's inside our group, instead of coming up with our own original idea, the thing that we really were supposed to do when we come into the earth. And so I want to talk about how can we get to our authentic self so we can stop the frustration of starting and stopping and starting and stopping. We really want to cut that out. It's so frustrating when you put all of your energy and all of your time into something, and even though you do that, it continually fails. So let's get into that tonight. Let's talk about those things. So the first thing I want to ask you is, how many of you have started something and stopped it? No matter what it is, you stopped it. Either you got bored with it or it failed. So you think, what happened? You had it planned out in your head. Everything sounded like it was going to go well. What happened? What made you stop it? I want you to think about it. What made me stop? The next thing I want you to do is I want you to think about, are you tired of losing? Are you tired of losing? Are you tired of always feeling like no matter what you do, you always end up on the short end of the stick? It just doesn't come out the way that you think. Are we tired of that? If we are, here's what we need to do. We need to get back to our authentic self. So, okay, Valerie, you keep talking about that. So how do we do that? How do I even know whether I'm being authentic or not? Well, here's the thing. Where do your ideas come from? Where did it come from for you? Most of us, our ideas come from what we see, what we hear, right? Something we've read, sounds like a good idea to us, and we'll just try it. We don't come up with original ideas. Well, I know you're thinking, oh my goodness, there is nothing new under the sun. Absolutely is. Even if you're doing something that others are doing, there is still going to be an original way that you're going to do it. Something unique to your own personality. But we have difficulty finding out what that is. Why? Because from the beginning, it's always been imparted into us something different than what we were originally designed to do or be. Either from something that we've seen, something that we've heard, or even things that have happened in our lives that have impacted us to the point where we can't even be original. A hurt, a wounding, a misunderstanding, not having the ideal background or environment for who you are as an individual, who you are as a person. So think about back when you were younger and you were trying to fit in with the rest of the group, right? You had people at school, they were doing things, and you really wanted to try to fit in, but you knew you really kind of didn't. And so what we start doing is, because we don't want to be a lone wolf, we'll start doing things to change how we talk, how we do what we do. We'll change our hair, we'll change our glasses, we'll change our clothes, we'll change the way we talk. We change all kinds of things trying to do what we call fit in with whoever that group is, that ideal group to us, so that we're not out here feeling like we're alone. The worst thing that we can do is try to fit in with the group. When we try to fit in, it takes our uniqueness away. The thing that makes you authentic, the thing that makes you an original. Why would we want to settle for being a copy? Once someone has started doing something, whatever that is, whether it's a business, whether it's the way they wear their hair, whether it's the way they wear their clothes, whatever it is, we're always trying to copy somebody. Oh, that looks good. I like that. But do you like it? Do you know whether you even like it or not? Sometimes we'll do things and we know we don't like it, but we're doing it trying to fit in because we're not clear yet who we are. And being an original doesn't feel good a lot of time, because here's what it's called. Oh, she's just an odd duck. She thinks differently. She does things differently than everyone else. And it makes it sound like it's something bad instead of something great. Why would you want to be like everybody else? It makes us feel comfortable. Is that what it is? We don't want to stand out in the crowd and be different. What is it that makes us feel like it's better for us to blend in and be like everybody else? I don't know. I think it's just because that's, as we're growing up and we're not sure who we are, that's what causes us to think that way. But let's come now into our adult lives now. As I started out tonight, I said, how many times have you started and stopped something? It sounded like a great deal. You had it written down. You knew what you wanted to do. What made you stop it? What made you think it wasn't a good idea anymore? Just because it didn't blow up and become this great big huge thing that you thought it was going to be? Do we not know that we've got the principle of seed time and harvest? It takes time for us to develop that thing. You didn't become who you are overnight, did you? You became who you are right now today over a process of time, of doing things, of experimenting, of trying different things, finding out what's comfortable. But the hard thing for a lot of us is, even in our discomfort, it's better for us, the way we think, for us to be uncomfortable than it is for us to be authentic, for us to be unique. We want to blend in, right? Because why? We haven't learned how to appreciate who we are. We haven't learned how to love our own selves because we haven't spent enough time with ourselves to even know, what do I like? Do I want to wear the same thing everyone's wearing? Do I want my hair styled like everyone else? Do I want glasses like, who's ever wearing them? We get these idols in our mind and then we want to be like them because we have not taken the time to sit down and find out, who am I really? What do I really like? What do I want to do? And so I want to give you all tonight some ways that you can start finding your authentic self. The number one thing I always start with is you have to spend time detoxing. What do I mean by detoxing? What I mean is you need to challenge every thought you have. Every thought, every imagination, every inclination you have to do something. Every time you get a thought, oh, I think I want to do this, or I think I want to do it this way. Why are you thinking that way? What did you see or what did you hear that you're now trying to replicate for yourself? Where did the idea come from? Do you not know that there is original material on the inside of you? You've got original stuff, but we've got to uncover it. So we have to start detoxing. And so when you start coming up with something that you think that you want to do, I want you to start writing down, what do you want it to look like? But why do I want it to look like that? Is it because that's what everybody else is doing? Is it because that's what the new trend is? Is that where I think I'm going to make the money from? What is it? Oh, I know that I could get out there and be popular and do it if I do it like this. But is that something that really resonates with you? Is that really your heart? Is that truly what you want to do? Or is it's, if we look at professions today, there are so many people in the medical field now. Why are a lot of people in the medical field? Is it because they really want to help people? Do they want to see people healthy? Do they want to see people whole? Do they really want to see people be well and help them? Is that why? Why do people go into the education field and become teachers? Are they becoming teachers because they love education and they love kids and they want to help kids grow and they want to help them learn because I love math and I love history and I love science, whatever their subject matter is? Do I love it and I want to help someone love it too and grow into it and show it to them? What is the reason why I became a teacher? Challenge every single thought. Why did you decide to do this? Why did you decide not to? Where is everything coming from that I'm thinking? If I don't like a particular thing, why do I not like it? Do I not like it because my friends don't like it? Do I not like it because the group I'm in doesn't like it? Why do I not like this particular thing? Challenge every single thing that you do. Come up with the reason why you think that way, why you want to do that. That's how we're going to get back to being authentic. We've got to detox. We have heard so many things. We have all of these different ways that we get information through our eyes, through our ears, through our smell, through our taste, through our touching. We have all of these sensories going on. We need to start using those sensories that we have to make decisions about, do I really like this or not? When I go out shopping, am I buying the shoes that I'm buying because the latest designer has it out? It might be the most uncomfortable shoe there is, but because this particular designer that everyone else is excited about made those shoes, I'm going to buy those shoes, or I'm going to buy that outfit. Challenge that. Every single thing you do, challenge it. Where did that thought come from? Why do I want to do it? Challenge it. Challenge the way that you think. Challenge everything. I want you to leave tonight with that word, challenge it. That's how you're going to detox. That's how you're going to start getting into becoming your original, authentic self. You know, when we were little kids, what did we do as little girls a lot of times? We were watching our mothers or watching our big sisters, right? Watching older family members, and we might watch how they did what they did. And you know, and I'm sure everyone has heard this before. When the wife was making the ham and the husband was watching and she cut the end of the ham off and he said, "Why are you cutting it off?" And she said she didn't know, and because my mother did. And he said, so ask the mom, "Well, why?" "Well, because my mother did." And then we all know, most of us have heard this. It was because grandma, great grandma, whoever started it, her pan was too small, so she cut it off. But that tradition just went on and on and on because it just did. But no one ever challenged it. Why did it happen? Why do I do it like this? Why do I think like that? Where does that passion really come from? Is it a passion? Or am I just doing routinely over and over again what I've seen go on in the family, at work, with my friends, in school? Why? So I want you to begin today to challenge everything that you do. What you're eating, what you're wearing, what you're thinking, how you're doing. Now, I know you might be thinking, wow, you know, this is an overwhelming task. Okay, let's just start with one thing. Start with one thing that you're going to do today, tonight. Make a decision. I'm going to challenge this. I will no longer just do this on automatic. I'm going to challenge it. Why am I doing this particular way? Do I really have a solid reason? You know, when we're raising kids, woo, that is the worst thing a lot of times when we have that child saying, why? Everybody's had a child like that or been around someone that has done that. Do you know what's difficult about being around someone who asks why? Because we don't have a reason. We really don't know why we did it the way we did it, or we do it the way that we do it. We don't have a reason. So instead of being honest and saying, you know, well, I don't know, or saying, you know, it's because that's what, you know, how I saw who so-and-so do it, you know, whatever your reason, but there has to be a real reason, a solid reason why. So you go back and now you start being that child in your own life and start asking yourself, why do I do this particular thing this particular way? Once you get that down in your life and you're able to do that in that area, start then challenging the next area. Why do I do this? Why do I think that way about this? What it'll help you do is learn you. Learn who you really are. And as you start challenging and you start finding out what you really like, how you really think, why you think that way, why you're doing what you're doing, right? Now you'll then start becoming a whole person instead of a part of a person or a fraction of a person. You start putting the pieces together of your life, and then you'll start asking other questions. You'll start looking around and you'll start thinking, okay, so why did I pursue the career that I pursued? Why am I working the job that I'm working? This does not fit who I am authentically. Here's what I really love to do. Do we not know that's where entrepreneurship really comes from? Is from you being your authentic self, who you are, and introducing your authentic self to the world. Because whether you know it or not, you're an answer to a problem in the earth. Yes, I said it. I know we talk about it all the time, especially if you're an entrepreneur. What we hear is find a problem and solve it. Well, you're not going to be able to solve just any problem. You're going to be able to solve the problem that you were sent in the earth to solve. But first, we've got to go through that detox process. I've now got to figure out, why do I think the way that I think about the things that I do? So I can now get to my original authentic self. So I know why I feel the way that I feel. And I understand why I think the way that I think. Is it because this is what I like? Or is it because this is the way that I was treated? Is this the way because I was raised this way? This is the way our family did it? Why? This is the way when I was in school, all the cool girls. What is my reason? Challenge it. So we're going to detox. That's the very first thing that I want you to do, to find out who your original self is. So Esther's purpose. You know, when I studied Esther's purpose long before I started doing my conference, one of the things that caught my attention was when she was brought to the palace, the very first thing that they did with the ladies that came is they started detoxing them. That was the very first process, to take off everything that they were prior to them coming to the palace, so that they can then become soft, pliable, moldable, and shaped into the type of woman the king would want. Don't you know that that's the same process that we need to go through in our life to now come before the king? What is the king? Our purpose. What we're supposed to be doing in the earth is king for us. That's what it is. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to take the time, and I'm going to challenge every one of you. Take time. Pick at least one thing this week. This is Monday. Pick something this week that you've maybe been struggling with, that you're frustrated about. Something that you see going on in your life that no matter what you do, this thing just keeps coming around and coming around and coming around. Whether it's job, whether it's relationship, whatever it is, there is something that no matter what I do, this thing just keeps plaguing my life. Well, what we've got to do now is start challenging that. What am I doing that keeps bringing that here? What am I doing? How am I thinking? So now challenge it. Where did that thought process come from? Where did that behavior come from? Where did it come from? Start writing. One of the things that I do for myself personally is I write. And when I say write, I mean free write. Don't worry about grammar, punctuation, all of that stuff, whether you have capital, just write. So you can start seeing for yourself what you're thinking on that subject, because it came from somewhere. Everything that you think, everything that you do is coming from a source. It's coming from somewhere. And so that thing that's challenging you, that thing that's you're always failing, I get this close, I get this far into it, and it always blows up. It always sounded great originally, but all of a sudden it just blew up. And you stop doing it. And then time will go by and you'll try something else. Go back and start connecting the dots. How long are you doing it before you stop? How long are you doing it before you get frustrated? What is it that derailed you? Start looking for that pattern. And then once you find it, now we've got to go back and find out, where did it come from? Where did that thought process come from? Even if it's just the fact that I just gave up because I didn't want to take the time to do it. Well, where did that come from? That I don't take time, that I don't see that everything great takes time. There is nothing great that happens overnight. Everything takes time. We know, seed, time, harvest. Everything that we're going to do that's going to be of any quality work in our life and through our life is going to take time. And so I want to leave you all with this thought. Here is a quote. This is my favorite quote from Miles Monroe. I don't care how many times I hear it, it always, for me, challenges me every single time I hear this quote. This quote, he said, "Nothing in life is without purpose, but every purpose is not known. When purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable." What is abuse? Abuse is abnormal use. We can actually abuse ourselves, abnormally use us. Our gifts, our talents, when they're not channeled in the right direction, when they're not channeled in doing what we're supposed to be doing, how we're supposed to be doing it, we now are not being authentic and we're derailing ourselves. And our purpose is not really being seen. It's not being lived out in our life the way it's supposed to. So who is the biggest abuser of us? Us. Because we don't know our purpose. We don't know why we have the gifts and talents that we have. And for a lot of us, guess what happens with the gifts and talents that we have? We never use them. We never grow them. We never acknowledge them. We don't do that, especially if it's looking different than what we say everyone else is doing. But I want to challenge you tonight. I want to challenge you to detox. Start it today. And when we come back next Monday, we're going to do another process of it. And we're going to stay with this detoxing for a little while. Because what we got to understand is that detoxing takes time. This is not something you can do in 5 minutes, 5 days, might not even be 5 months. I'm not saying I'm going to teach on it that long, but what I'm saying is you've got to spend time doing that. You've got to start challenging, why am I always failing? Why am I always giving up and quitting? Why, when everything looks exciting, we can come up with a whole lot of other reasons why. But at the end of the day, if we're not being our authentic self, if we're not doing what we were put in this earth to do and use the corresponding gifts to do them, we're going to always lose and we're going to always give up and quit every time we try to do something. Because eventually it's going to feel like, this is not me. It doesn't feel comfortable to me. Why doesn't it? Because it's not you. Or even if you just happen into it, you're not doing it in the way that you should. Because we look around, and even if someone's doing something kind of like what I'm doing, or whatever it is that you're doing, you'll look at what they're doing and you'll try to, oh, you know what, that looks good. Or, oh, you know what, they got a really good response when they did that. Let me incorporate that. That wasn't an original thought. That wasn't your original idea. That wasn't even your original plan. But you did it anyway, trying to get noticed, trying to get recognition. Especially here on social media, oh my goodness, you could put on the best live there was, and you might only have 3 people watch it at that moment. And because only 3 people watched it, or nobody liked it, or nobody shared it, nobody gave you any emotions while you were doing it, you thought you did a bad job. Why did you think that? Because someone decided that for it to be good, you should have been getting emotions while you were doing it. Somebody should have shared it out. Somebody should be following you. Somebody should be commenting. What happens when you were doing the exact right thing? You put that message out there. Maybe your message was for one particular individual that if you hadn't deleted it and you had to just let it be out there, whoever it was that needed it would have gotten to it. But because we didn't get the response that we wanted, we didn't get the applause, everybody didn't like and share it and follow it, we just took it down or we devalued it. And once we do that, we devalue ourselves, and then we don't want to do it anymore, when that was probably the very thing that you needed to do. So again, challenge, I want you, just one thing I want you to detox with this week. Take one thing and challenge it. Why do I do this? Why do I think like this? Why is it every time I try to do something, I decide it failed? Why? Why do I feel like this? Find that thing and start challenging it. Where did it come from? Why do I feel this is bad? What made me think this part of me was bad? What made me think that I have a shortcoming in this area? Why? Is it because everybody else is not doing it? By the end of this series that I'm doing, I want everyone to go into 2020. You know, we're getting ready. This year, if anybody hasn't noticed it, 2019 is moving fast. We are already into the second quarter. And the first month of the second quarter is gone this coming Wednesday. We are into May. What have you done this year already? What can you account for that you've already spent the last 4 months doing that is productive, that is yielding you the harvest that you wanted when you started it? How many things have you already stopped since January 1? How many? Think about those things. This year is moving quickly. We want 2020, when we go into 2020, we want to go into 2020 clear what we're doing, how we're doing it, and the only way we can do that is be our authentic self. And we be who we're put in the earth to be. And we're doing that. So when I come back next Monday, I want you to be able to tell me, what is it? What did you detox? I want you to drop it in the comments. Even if you didn't get an opportunity to watch it while I was doing it live, drop it in the comments. Drop the challenge. Drop it in tomorrow, next week. It doesn't matter when you drop it in there. You know why I want you to do it? Because I want you to hold yourself accountable. Not for me, for yourself. What part of your thinking process, a behavior, whatever it is that you're going to challenge yourself in the next week? Why do I do this? Why do I think like this? Why do I feel like this? Pick one. Challenge yourself in it. Go back and find, where did it come from? And then we're going to talk about what do we do to work with it? How do we work with it? All right? I enjoyed this time with you all. I hope you did. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you're going to take the challenge. And until then, until tomorrow, until next Monday, you all, Esther's Purpose, we're on the move, making sure that by 2020, by the time it comes in, you are going to be on purpose. Good night, everyone.